Om Ajnanatamrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sadhana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So we are in the Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, 41st sloka we are trying to study today. And from here we will continue. So let's start. Shankaro Narakayaiva Kulagnanam Kulasya cha Patanti Pitaro Hyesham Lupta Pindodaka Kriyaha. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Purport. According to the rules and regulations of fruitive activities, there is a need to offer periodical food and water to the forefathers of the family. This offering is performed by worship of Vishnu, because eating the remnants of food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kinds of sinful reactions. Sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions, and sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a gross material body and are forced to remain in the subtle bodies as ghosts. Thus, when the remnants of prasad, food, are offered to the forefathers by the descendants, the forefathers are released from the ghostly or other kinds of miserable life. Such help rendered to the forefathers is a family tradition, and those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals. Okay, so the topic is changing. Like we will study this particular thing. So it is mentioned that a periodical pindadan is very important, for the benefit of the forefathers of the family. So we see that sometimes this pindadan people do, and they offer non-veg and other things and all in the pindadan. So, and what's the reason? If we ask them, they say, okay, when he was living, he used to like this. No, he used to like this, and so no, we will offer this thing to him. And so, like that, whatever that person likes and things like that. So they live a life of sense gratification, and they think that the benefit of a soul who is already passed away, so they think that the benefit of that person is whatever sense gratification he liked. So the already, because of the sense gratification that he did, he's going to go to the hellish conditions, or he's going to suffer. And these people, in the name of pindadan, so they make sure that this guy is going to suffer permanently, right? So it is very important that Vishnu Prasad must be offered, during such times, right? So Prasadam means it's Vishnu Prasad. So there is no other thing is called as what is that? No sacred as it is like Vishnu Prasad. So Vishnu Prasadam has to be offered, and the proper sacrifice and things like that has to be done. If such kind of foodstuffs are offered to this the people who have departed, so then they get benefited wherever they are. They get the benefit of honoring this prasadam. And in fact, here it is mentioned, sometimes they are stuck in some places due to sinful reactions, or they may not even get the gross bodies. They may be in the ghostly kind of condition. So ghostly condition means it's a very miserable condition. So ghostly condition means it's only the soul and the subtle body. There is no gross body. So the subtle body is filled with so much of desires for sense gratification, and to fulfill these desires, one requires a gross body. And here, it's like you have only the desires, but you cannot, no, you cannot get anything. Like you cannot satisfy your desires at all because you don't have a gross body. So in that kind of condition, so a soul actually suffers very, very greatly. And no such, if somebody is stuck like that, if they are offered Vishnu Prasad, so then they actually get liberation, from that point. So they can actually progress further in their spiritual life, in their progression. So in this way, like it is very, very helpful. So the Vedic culture was so arranged that even while living, a person is with a lot of rituals, and so many even materialistic activities also involved a lot of rituals. And with all these rituals, they would chant the names of the Lord, and they would, for performing all these rituals, they have to invoke the names of the Lord. So in this way, it was helping them to progress. And even after they pass away, the system is so nice that the descendants of the family, they would offer the pindadan. So in that way, like they will, these people will have some good destination, right? So that's the tradition. That's the way the tradition actually goes. And it is mentioned those who are not involved in devotional life, no, they are required to perform such rituals. So this is a very important thing. Who needs to perform the rituals and who doesn't need to be? So, for example, rituals means you have many rituals are there, like Vivaha Yagya is there. So then, like when children are born, so there is so much of sanskaras that needs to be performed. And then, like here we see that it is Antyam Samskara, and also like the other rituals of what is that, this Pindadan and things like that and all. There are so many rituals are there. Some of the rituals are like they are spiritual, and some of the rituals are quite completely material. So it doesn't have any spiritual significance, right? So these rituals, like we will be just seeing the next point that Prabhupada is making here is one who's engaged in devotional life is not required to perform such actions. So why this kind of thing is there? So it is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There is a nice sloka that is there which says Deva Rishi Bhuta Apta Nrinam Pitrinam Nayam Kinkarana Rinicha Rajan Sarvatmano Yash Sharanam Saranyam Gato Mukundam Parihirti Kartum. So these rituals, the material rituals, what all there, so it is towards the devas. So in this particular sloka, it says Deva, Rishi, Bhuta, Apta, Nrina, and Pitra. So 6 kinds of people are identified. So Deva means the demigods, the devatas. So they give us the rain, they give us the natural resources and things like that. So like we are indebted to them, we have to pay back to them. And then Deva, Rishi. Rishi is the great sages. They also give knowledge, and like the all the scriptures and these things are there because of their these great souls. So we have to repay them by the way of studying these scriptures. And then Bhuta means all the different living entities who are there. It is mentioned even if we enjoy the chirping of a bird, and we just say, oh, how nicely this bird is singing, and immediately we become indebted to that bird, and we have to repay. We are becoming debtor, right? And then bhuta apta, relatives. So because of relatives and family, like we have got some kind of a security, and for half of our life we were not even working or earning and things like that. So the parents are the ones, and the relatives are the ones like who actually give shelter to us. And so that is like apta, relatives. And then bhuta apta nrinam, so people in general, the society, that also gives us some kind of a social structure, and then some security, some job opportunities, and various things we get from the society. So nrinam. And then pitrinam, so the forefathers, they kept the family lineage on, they kept some culture on, and in that way, like we are able to get whatever we have got as a family tradition. So all these personalities, we have some debt towards them. And Srimad Bhagavatam says, actually, if we have to close these debts, a person is expected to do Deva Yagya, Pitru Yagya, Bhuta Yagya, like this various upasanas, the 5 different kinds of upasanas needs to be performed. So different kinds of yajnas needs to be performed. So then it's quite a lot actually. If a person is materialistic and he wants to enjoy this material world, he cannot just go about and enjoying. No, in the matter of enjoying, it is like he's using the credit card and he has to pay the bill back, right? So he's using the credit card in terms of he's enjoying the rain and sun and air and everything. So he has to pay the bills. No, he's debtor. So the moment he enjoys it, he becomes a debtor. And then rishis, like he's got the knowledge of, or even if he doesn't have knowledge, so there are so many people who use that knowledge, the knowledge given by the great rishis and sages, and I directly or indirectly become a beneficiary of that. So because of that, I also have to repay that debt. So in this way, we are getting benefits from all these people for our enjoyment. I cannot just go about enjoying this world just like that. I have to repay my debt to all these people. And if somebody wants to do material sense gratification, no, traditionally, like in the Vedic times, this is what is called as the standard of material sense gratification, to perform all these various rituals and then enjoy. That's the way of enjoyment. And those people who are atheistic and those people who don't even believe the Vedas and completely demoniac kind of people, so they may not do any of these things, and they may just simply go about enjoying, and they have to go to hell for that reason. And now, why it is for devotees it is not necessary, they may not need to do all these things. The sloka says, sarvatmano yash sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartum. So if this person actually surrenders, if a devotee completely surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Lord, and he is not doing anything else apart from devotional service of the Lord, so then he is absolved from all these debts. He doesn't need to repay these debts, because it's like, you see, the original debt is that everything belongs to Krishna and everything should be used in his service. That's the life of a devotee. But then if that thing what belongs to Krishna is used in my service, so then Krishna says, okay, fine, it's not yours, but you want to enjoy, so follow a protocol. Follow, like, you cannot enjoy just like that, and you need cooperation of so many people. You may not repay to me, that's okay. Like, at least whoever is cooperating to you in your enjoyment, at least repay to them. That's these rituals, deva yagya, bhuta yagya, pitru yagya, and these various yagyas. So perform them and then you enjoy. So at least, like, that's kind of a concession, or a third grade reduction or something like that. So that's given. So but if a person is saying that, no, I don't want to enjoy Krishna's property, I want to apply Krishna's property in Krishna's service, so then it becomes, you become a representative of Krishna, or you become an obedient servant of Krishna. So an obedient servant can use the resources of the master for the service of the master. So he will not be considered a debtor, right? So if a cashier of a company is handling a lot of cash on behalf of company, then he is not a debtor. But if the cashier wants some money for himself, then no, he's taking it on his name, so he becomes a debtor, right? So in that way, like, the devotees of the Lord, so they are using all the resources of the Lord in Lord's service, so then they don't get involved in this kind of debts. So that's how it is mentioned that no one who is engaged in the devotional life is not required to perform such actions. For them, there is only one thing. They just need to do the devotional service. They just need to do the chanting and hearing and Navavida Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Those Navavida Bhakti has to be performed. And if to the degree a person wants material sense gratification, he must perform the other rituals. But that is in Kali Yuga, it is impossible almost to perform all the rituals and to satisfy all these personalities and to live a proper life. So in Kali Yuga, it is, its only choice is like bhakti or hell. That's all. There is no middle path. There is this karma yoga. Like, if we actually get deeper into the karma yoga, we will find it is almost completely impossible to do the actions of karma yoga in this Kali Yuga. It is simply not possible. We don't have such trained brahmanas who can actually advise us, and we don't have such facilities to properly satisfy all the various debts that we have, to absolve from all the various debts that we have. It is only way is that we just surrender unto the Supreme Lord and perform His devotional service, and we will be absolved from all these things. In fact, in our Bhakti Shastri course, we had this kind of activity to find out that is karma yoga possible at all in Kali Yuga. It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible. It's a big circus if somebody wants to do. First of all, karma means like that action that has been prescribed in the Vedic scriptures. It is not that anything and everything I do, I go and work in a software company and then I say, okay, this is my karma. No, it's not like that. So we have to see the scriptures, like what are the prescribed duties of the human beings? What are the different duties for different varnas and ashramas? So there only we will become clean bold. In the definition of what is karma, only we will become clean bold. Then forget about like following them and doing anything of later on. It's really very difficult. So that's why the only saving grace in Kali Yuga is Bhakti Yoga. No, Jnana Yoga, for example, if we take, the preliminary qualification is a person has to follow Karma Yoga and then he has to purify his heart and come to the point of even starting the Jnana Yoga process. Jnana Yoga process cannot be started by anyone and everyone. A person who's purified his heart after performing Karma Yoga for a prolonged period of time, he can start Jnana Yoga process. And what's the benefit? He'll not be able to reach the highest perfection. So no, he has to just reach till the point that okay, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. No, that's kind of ABCD of Bhagavad Gita. Only till that point, no Jnana Yogi can perform, come up to. So it is very important to know that this Bhakti Yoga process is really very amazing process. And by the process of Bhakti Yoga, we are able to like get the ultimate solution of clearing up everything and then getting back to the spiritual world. It is not just because we are doing Bhakti Yoga, so we are glorifying Bhakti Yoga. No, it is, it's the easiest thing, right? So it's the easiest thing. Surrendering unto the Lord is the easiest thing. So if we have to manage the stolen property, if we want to remain a thief, if we want to take God's property and use it in our service, and if we want to remain a thief and then manage the police, it's a difficult task. But then if we stop doing any crimes and then if we surrender to the legal system of a government, it's more easiest thing. All of us can imagine, like who is more peaceful in this world, right? A thief is more peaceful or a legal citizen is more peaceful? Obviously a legal citizen is more peaceful because he's not done any crime. He's quite legal. So in the same way, if we apply Krishna's property in Krishna's service, so then we can be very, very peaceful, right? So we don't need to fulfill various various kind of debts and rituals and things like that. So one pointed focus, devotional service, that needs to be there. Okay. Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kinds of miseries. It is stated in Bhagavatam. Okay, oh, that's very slow. Same sloka is there here. Deva rishi bhutat nrinam pitrinam na kinkara nayam rinicha rajan sarvatmana ya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartum. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligations and has taken to the path in all seriousness, owes neither duties nor obligations to demigods, sages, general living entities, family members, humankind, or forefathers. Such obligations are automatically fulfilled by performance of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is not a concession for those who are not practicing seriously. It's very, very clear. No kato mukundam parihritya kartum. So sarvatmanashya sharanam sharanyam. So it's very, very important words. He has taken shelter of the Lord in all seriousness and he is performing devotional service exclusively to the Supreme Lord. So then he is absolved from all the various kinds of debts. Otherwise, these debts have to be fulfilled. Right? Even if we fulfill all the debts, still, it's humanly impossible to fulfill all the debts. That's why people get into karma and people get into different kinds of lives and things like that. Never-ending cycle of birth and death. It's practically impossible to fix the debts, all the debts that we have encountered, right? So it's very, very difficult. Okay. So now text 42. Dosharete kulagnanam varana shankara karakaihi utsadhyante jati dharmah kula dharmascha sashvatah. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. Okay, purport. Community projects for the four orders of human society combined with family welfare activities as they are set forth by the institution of Sanatana Dharma or Varnashrama Dharma are designed to enable the human being to attain his ultimate salvation. Therefore, the breaking of Sanatana Dharma tradition is irresponsible by irresponsible leaders of society brings about chaos in the society, and consequently people forget the aim of life, Vishnu. Such leaders are called blind, and people who follow such leaders are sure to be led into chaos. So here, why is this whole discussion happening? Because Arjuna is telling that all the respectable people of the world are assembled here in this battle, and if all of them are finished, all of them are killed in this battle, who will take care of all this no community projects and social projects which are quite essential for upliftment of the society? There are so many wonderful things that is being organized by these great elders, and they make sure that society in general are dharmic, no, because of their influence, no, the people in general are dharmic. But if these people are killed, then what's going to happen? No, it's going to be a problem, right? So that's the thing Arjuna is telling here. Text 43. Utsannakula dharmanam manushyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavatiti anushushtruma. Translation: O Krishna, maintainer of the people. Janardana means the maintainer of the people, right? And I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell. Purport. Arjuna bases his argument not on his own personal experience. So this is very important. Bhavatiti, Anusushruma. So Shravan means to hear. Shushruma means like, no, he has heard, and Anusushruma means he has heard in disciplic succession, no, following the great authorities. And Bhavati iti, like, no, he's telling that this narake niyatam vaso, like, no, it happens that a person who destroys the family tradition, and the whole family has to get to the hellish planets, and this is what I've heard in the disciplic succession. This is a very important point. In the Vedic times, people would not just speak some random logic. No, that's never the case. Always they would cite reference from the scriptures, and they would cite reference from learned authorities, and that's the way the speech used to be. And the speech used to be of very high quality, and that's why even now we are studying this Bhagavad Gita. It is nothing but a speech between Krishna and Arjuna. So, but the quality of speech is so amazing that no bakwas has been spoken, no useless talk has been indulged in. So, whatever they spoke, no, they spoke with citing references. They spoke with citing, no, of course, Krishna is the greatest learned person, no, because he is the Vedanta Krit Vedavit Eva Chaham. So, like, he is the knower of all the Vedas. Of course, he can speak. And here, the speech of Arjuna is also quite amazing because he is offering arguments, after a great deal of learning, right? And Krishna is able to build on top of it, right? So, if he were to be a ekdam like dull-headed person, so then there is such a high level of talk would have never occurred, actually. Okay, so let's see the purport. Arjuna bases his argument not on his own personal experience, but on what he has heard from authorities. No, Anushushuma. That is the way of receiving real knowledge. One cannot reach the real point of factual knowledge without being helped by the right person who's already established in that knowledge. There is a system in the Varnashram institution by which, before death, one has to undergo the process of atonement for his sinful activities. One who's always engaged in sinful activities must utilize the process of atonement called prayaschitta. Without doing so, one surely will be transferred to hellish planets to undergo miserable lives as a result of sinful activities. Right? So if a person is not doing prayaschitta for all the sinful activities that he has done, then he will have to go to hell. And we don't even have an account of what all sinful activities we have did. It's quite difficult to even take a list of it. So that is how sinful no we are. So when we walk in the street, even no walking over an ant and killing them, so that is also a sin. And so much of what is that? So much of our lives we have been eating food without offering to the Lord. No, it like Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that yajna shishta shino shanta muchyante sarva kilbishai bunjante tve aham papa ye pachanti atma karanat. So one who just cooks food for himself and then he eats without offering it to the Lord, no, he's verily eating only sin. No, he's not eating any like people may say like, oh, this is nourishing and this is this vitamin, that vitamin. They are only eating sin vitamin. No, they are not eating anything else. So of course they have to go and suffer in the hell. So like this is just a small this one. So we have a huge list of things which we don't know. We have been committing so many sinful activities throughout our life, and if we have to do prayaschitta for everything, it becomes overwhelming. That is why, like, no, just surrender unto the Lord. Gato mukundam parihirti kartum. The Lord can, no, absolve us from all these debts and all these sins, right? Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami ma suchaha. So that's why Krishna mentions that thing. Now, if you want to balance, it's quite difficult. No, it's especially Kali Yuga is not a time for such kind of a balancing act. No, it's quite degraded. We cannot even think of balancing. The overload of sin is too much. This is like flooding the whole dam. No, so if there is a like optimum amount of water, the dam can regulate the water. So, but then if it is an overflood of this one, the dam cannot also hold it. So that's the position that we cannot even think, imagine of handling the sins that we have committed. So there is only one way, that is Gato Mukundam Parihirti Kartum. So we have to surrender unto the Supreme Lord, and He can relieve us from the problem. Okay, text 44. Aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavasitha vayam yadraja sukalobena hantum swajanamudyatah. Alas, how strange it is that we are prepared to commit greatly sinful acts driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kinsmen. Purport. Driven by selfish motives, one may be inclined to such sinful acts as the killing of one's own brother, father, or mother. There are many such instances in the history of the world, but Arjuna, being a saintly devotee of the Lord, is always conscious of moral principles and therefore takes care to avoid such activities. Okay. Text 45. Yadi mam apratikaram ashastram shastrapanayah dadarashtrarane hanyus tanme kshemataram bhaved. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. Purport. It is the custom, according to Kshatriya fighting principle, that an unarmed and unwilling foe should not be attacked. Arjuna, however, decided that even if attacked by enemy in such an awkward position, he would not fight. So this is a condition. Like here we see that the famous question that people ask, what were other people doing when Krishna and Arjuna were talking? So like as we always tell that, no, this is not a street fight that is happening. This is Dharma Yuddha, and this is a fight that is happening between very, very great Kshatriyas. And they are not just going to beat anyone and everyone as they get opportunity. So here, this is the principle that if Arjuna is telling that ashastram shastra panayah. So even if I don't have any shastra and they are having shastra in their pani, in their hands, and what is that? Yadimam apratikaram. No, even if I am not willing to fight, no, still, like if they come and attack me, still, even in that condition, I will not retaliate. This is completely against the moral principles. No, this is especially the battlefield principles, and this is why when Arjuna and Krishna were talking, so the opposite party did not attack. No, because they know that these people are having some discussion, and we will wait for them to finish their talk, and then let's get into the battle. So that's very, very cultured and very it's a kind of a cultured kind of an environment. It is not a street fight that is happening over there, right? Okay. He did not consider how much the other party was bent upon fighting. All these symptoms are due to soft heartedness resulting from his being a great devotee of the Lord. Text 46. Sanjaya uvacha evam uktha uktvarjuna shankhe ratopasta upavishat vishrujya shasharam sharam chapam shoka samvigna manasah. Translation. Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrow and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. Purport. While observing the situation of his enemy, Arjuna stood up on the chariot, but he was so afflicted with lamentation that he sat down again, setting aside his bow and arrows. Such a kind of soft hearted person in devotional service of the Lord is fit to receive self knowledge. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purport of the first chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Okay, so we come to the end of first chapter. So we'll get to the second chapter. Before that, there is some question. Okay, what is Sankalpa? Um, what about rituals, puja ceremonies for various things, etc., performed by Purohits? It may be for Supreme Lord as well, not just demigods. Okay, so sankalpa means taking a promise that I will do this particular thing. Just like before we start any vrata, we do a sankalpa saying that in this vrata I will follow such and such things. No, I will diligently perform this vrata and finish it. So that's called sankalpa. No, sankalpa is taken before a vrata starts. So it doesn't have any specific. Um, this one, okay, fine. So, what about the rituals and puja ceremonies done by the Purohits? It may also include demigods. The moment it includes demigods, then it becomes a substandard thing. No, so if it is exclusively towards the Supreme Lord, so then it is considered to be bhakti. But then if it is Supreme Lord is just used as a chapa just to make it authorized, so then it is like it's kind of a substandard thing. It's not a very nice thing. In fact, the demigod worship, the proper demigod worship has to be performed involving Vishnu. For example, Ganesha Homa is performed. So first the Yajna Purusha, that is Vishnu, is invoked, and then Lord Ganesha is invoked, and then the Vishnu Prasad is offered to Ganesha. And that's how the Ganesha worship happens. And that's how all the other demigod worships has to happen. If a demigod is directly approached for benefit, just like Hiranyakashipu did or Ravana did and all, so then it becomes demoniac, completely out and out demoniac, right? So that is not to be performed. Even in Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned very, very clearly, Yajna means that which is meant for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. If it is done for the devatas, so then it becomes a little substandard, right? So it's not going to be of the absolute nature, and it is not going to remove all the various debts that is going to be there. No, because we are not repaying that debt of exclusive surrender to the Supreme Lord, the original debt. If that, till the time that debt is not solved, we will have so many other subsequent debts, which we will not be able to expertly solve. Okay, even in that case, demigod worship. So then we should be prepared to worship all the 33 crore different demigods. Why only Ganesha? Why only Surya? Why only few demigods? No, what about the other 33 crore? No, we have to worship all of them because we are getting benefit from all of them. So then we should worship all the 33 crore demigods. Otherwise, like better we surrender to Vishnu. Okay. So is it we outsource our responsibility and prayers to Purohits to route to Lord? Does it work or work faster? Does the Lord listen to their mantras and rituals? So Purohits, the original sense of Purohit is that a very, very highly qualified Brahmana who knows what is the this one, what are the Vedas says, and what the exactly the procedures of the Vedic rituals and things like that. And such kind of prohits, no, they can be, no, they actually perform the rituals, no, for the sake of, or for the benefit of the yajaman, for the benefit of the householder. And while performing these rituals, they also have to take a portion of the sins of the householder. And the modern prohits, they don't even know like what they're getting into. They just simply, just to make a livelihood, so they just make a business and package and things like that. And no, you just pay so much money, I'll get you everything, and then we will do a homa and things like that. And he doesn't even know like what he's getting into actually. No, sometimes they are not so much learned in the scriptures, and their personal sadhana, their personal upasana has to be really very strong to absorb the sins that is coming from the yajaman, and then no, to burn them off. No, if he's not having so much of this one, no, unfortunately he'll just collect all the sins and he'll go to hell. No, so it's a very important subject. So we will see in the Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto, where Vishwarup is approached by Indra to perform some sacrifice. And this Vishwarup, he is younger in age to all the devatas, the elder devatas. So, and he's a very pure Brahmana. And when Indra approaches him, he says that if I, like, it is not a very high, this one, not to go and perform rituals on behalf of somebody, but then you are my elders, you are asking me, so I should oblige your request. And definitely when I perform like sacrifices for your sake, I may have to take some sins, but then because you are my elders, I'm prepared to do that. No, and he knows, like, this person, this prohit who is getting engaged as a priest for Indra to perform yajnas. So he is very well aware that by doing this, I will be taking some of the sins of this person, and then I will have to burn it. And he is very confident based on his personal sadhana, right? So that's very important. If that is not there, no, Prohit will just enter into something, and then he will spoil his life, and he'll spoil the life of the person whom he's trying to offer sacrifice to. Especially in Kali Yuga, no, there is no, we cannot say like we have high class prohits, to do good tasks. um, if they are pure hearted brahmanas, then definitely the Lord listens to them. Okay. Or a humble prayer, japa, being Krishna conscious, will be acknowledged more by the Supreme Lord. Or this will be definitely acknowledged if we are doing with a attitude of, my Lord, you are everything, and then everything belongs to you. I just simply want to be your devotee, right? So if we actually offer prayers in that way, definitely that's much more higher than doing any karma kandya, yajnas and pujas. Okay. So next is it required sankalpam before starting reading Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam? We can do that. We can do that. But then even if we don't do, still it is not a problem. No, we are engaged in the activity of sankalpa is just to regulate our mind, so that our mind will not get here and there. No, mind will not cheat us saying that, okay, you have done enough. No, it's sufficient. You just get out of it. If we have done a sankalpa, then we will be like, oh, like, no, I have entered into a deal. I have entered into an agreement. I must finish it. Right. So that's kind of a benefit of the sankalpa. It's all to tame the, wild mind that we have, which can off track us at any point in time. Right. So a person who has a little bit more better control of the mind, so it's okay. For him it's okay. And even otherwise, the sankalpa offers a very good platform, so we can do it. That's not a problem. Okay, so let's get into the second chapter, contents of Gita summarized. This is so named because Krishna is running through the various different yogas and things like that here. And why is it so? Because in answering to Arjuna's apprehensions, Krishna is actually addressing, each one of them, and then that gives rise to so many different angles of thought. And Arjuna gets confused at the end of it, and then Krishna starts explaining it more detailedly from third chapter. So, anyways, we'll get into the second chapter. Text 1. Sanjaya uvacha tam tatha kripaya vishtam ashrupurna kulekshanam visidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudanaha. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, His eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna spoke the following words. Purport. Material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of real self. Compassion for eternal soul is self realization. So here we see now Prabhupada always in this last, from the last section onwards, we are seeing that Prabhupada constantly alternating his tone in the purports. So in one purport he will be for Arjuna, in another purport he'll be against Arjuna. So he constantly, like, no, he alternates. In one purport he'll say, okay, this is because of his soft heartedness, he's a great devotee and things like that. The very next purport he'll say, okay, no, this is all material. No, it's compassion for the soul is the real compassion, and compassion for the material body is not real compassion. No, like he is condemning that particular thing. So in this way, he will keep alternating this particular aspect, right? So as we had discussed, like mixed emotions are there. No, that's one of the reasons. And also we have to understand from Arjuna's point of view and then the common person's point of view, and various different lessons have to be derived. And the acharyas are very merciful, and they bring about all these different colors, from these discussions. Okay, the word Madhusudana is significant in this verse. Lord Krishna killed the demon Madhu, and now Arjuna wanted Krishna to kill the demon of misunderstanding that had overtaken him in the discharge of his duty. No one knows where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless, right? So where compassion has to be applied, for example, if there is a person who is coming and asking, like, I don't have any shelter, I don't have any this one, so I am in deep distress and trouble, like, no, give me some, what is that, can you give me some, what is that, um, uh, can you get me a house, and can you put me in a comfortable position? It's like, it's a very wrong kind of a proposition that he's coming up with. No, he can ask for a job or he can ask for a temporary help, so he cannot ask for a luxury. That's there. So in that way, like, we cannot have compassion on, like, for example, sometimes the this will be a more appropriate thing, uh, like people who are drunkards. They may come and say, like, no, it's been a while, like, I've not had my drink, can you help me? So it's another drunkard will feel compassion towards him, because that's the language that they understand, and they feel compassion towards, and he may help him get a drink. So but then that's not the real compassion, right? So in this way, people who are completely drunk in the bodily consciousness, and they seek bodily relief, and then people who are similarly drunk in the bodily consciousness, and they try to satisfy this person's bodily demands, right? So in this way, like, here it's mentioned, compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. The soul is drowning in this material ocean, and we have to give this atmanyana and help people to come out of this material mire. And instead, if we are just taking care of the dress of the people, so then it's not very great, like outward dress. So the only the body care for only the body is not sufficient. So wherever the care is applied, if there is a care for the body, or care for the mental situation, or care for anything, it should finally end with a spiritual care. Otherwise the whole thing is not very beneficial. Okay, man fallen in the ocean of nations cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward dress, the gross material body. No one who does not know this and laments for the outward dress is called a Shudra, or one who laments unnecessarily. Arjuna was a Kshatriya, and this conduct was not expected from him. Lord Krishna, however, can dissipate the lamentation of the ignorant man, and for this purpose, Bhagavad Gita was sung by him. This chapter instructs us in self realization by an analytical study of the material body and the spirit soul, as explained by the Supreme Authority, Lord Sri Krishna. This realization is possible when one works without attachment to fruitive results and is situated in the fixed conception of the real self. So it's a very nice thing, Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, telling that this chapter is an analytical study of the material body and the spirit soul, and like the difference between the body and soul is mentioned. Quite good number of slokas are mentioned, almost close to 20 slokas are used for that. And then it is mentioned here that this realization is possible when one works without attachment to the fruitive results. So if a person, this difference between body and soul means jnana, as we have always been discussing, the jnana or knowledge means to understand the difference between matter and spirit. And such a kind of understanding will come for a person who is not attached to the fruitive results. So if I'm doing a particular work, I'm very much attached to the fruits of my work. So that means already I'm so contaminated in my consciousness, no real jnana can arise in such a person's consciousness. Right? The jnana to arise, first a person have to be niswartha. No, swartha, like a swarthi cannot, swa artha means like one who is desirous of fruits of his own actions, or one who is desirous of his sense gratification, swarthi. So swarthi, no, a person who is so much behind sense gratification, no, there is no jnana will arise in his head. No, it is not possible for him to get any jnana. For him, it is not at all possible to see in terms of spirit and matter. No, he will always merge these two concepts. He will always think this body is permanent and I have to do for this body, I have to take care of this body, I have to do so many things for this body. Now his consciousness will always be on the material plane. So if he has to rise up to the spiritual plane, then first and foremost thing is that we have to learn to work without enjoying the fruits of our actions. This is one concept that will be there throughout Bhagavad Gita. You will see that every single chapter of Bhagavad Gita will stress upon this concept, that please don't try to enjoy the fruits of your activities. The person who is trying to enjoy the fruits of one's own activities is called kripana, or a miser. No, it is so abominable to think to enjoy the fruits of one's own activities. So in this way, so many different ways, this particular concept has been put in from so many different angles. This particular concept has been put. So it's very, very basic, very basic kind of a subject that needs to be understood. So this is why it is mentioned that we have to study Bhagavad Gita. This is called the preliminary signs of Krishna consciousness. If not for this, even if we hear the Leelas of the Lord, even if we hear all the high funda devotional stuffs and things like that, the basic thing is, no, I am still not able to give up my sense gratification. What jnana I will get and what bhakti I will get, it is very, very difficult, right? So first and foremost and basic thing is that we have to give up the tendency to enjoy the fruits of our actions, right? So that is when a person will be able to understand the the person will be able to understand the subject matters of the body and soul, right? So otherwise people will say like, okay, I have studied Bhagavad Gita, I've heard this concept of body and soul many times. Now, if a person is too much attached to sense gratification, then we would say, okay, like, no, you have not even scratched the topic of body and soul. You don't know anything about the body and soul. No, that's the way, like, if we have not purified our senses, then really we cannot understand the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So, okay, so let's try to understand as much as it is possible. And then by repeated reading and repeated abhyasa, we will be able to go to the depths of the concepts of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, text 2. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalam Midam Vishame Samupasthitam Anarya Jushtam Ashvargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy. Purport. Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. So why Prabhupada is starting the purport like this? Because the first time the word Bhagavan is used, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, right? So that's Prabhupada is going to focus on that a little bit. Then after that, he will come to this Anarya Justam and like Kutastva Kashmalam Idam. No, how come these kind of impurities have come in you? And Akirti Karam Arjuna. This will become Akirti. Kirti means like fame, and then Akirti means like blasphemy or infamy and things like that. So you will get infamy, like, no, this is not a very good thing that you're doing. So that's how Krishna starts. And this is the first speech of Krishna. In the direct speech, indirect speech was there, but then there's the direct speech that is appearing in Bhagavad Gita. So let's see this purport. Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. Therefore, Lord Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan throughout the Gita. So, Bhagavan is the ultimate in the absolute truth. So, it could have been so used as Krishna Uvacha or no Vasudeva Uvacha, like that. No, so many things could have been used, but specifically here, categorically, it is used as Bhagavan Uvacha. It's very, very important to note, actually. Okay, so Bhagavan is the ultimate in absolute truth. So we know from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, I think second chapter, I'm not able to remember the number. So, but Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattva medjnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti Bhagavan iti sabdyate. So the tattvam or the absolute truth is perceived in three different phases: Brahma iti, Paramatma iti, and Bhagavan iti. So the Bhagavan is the ultimate in the absolute truth. In the list of absolute truth, we see that the Bhagavan conception is the ultimate. So let's see the purport, how Prabhupada establishes this. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding, namely Brahman, or the impersonal, all-pervading spirit, and Paramatma, the localized aspect of the Supreme within the heart of all living entities, and Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Lord Krishna. So this is the three different aspects. Prabhupada very nicely mentions the Brahman aspect is the impersonal, all-pervasive spirit. Generally I tell this example of this one. What is it? Mm, we are living in a city. For example, we are living here in Bangalore, and then here there is a chief minister, and he's managing, and he's kind of ruling this tract of land. And if somebody, if we ask, if a small child or a school going person who's not very much interested in politics and things like that, if he's asked like no how is it the city running, no, he'll say like some government is there. No, something is happening. Who is the chief minister? No, I don't know all these things. Like, so then he's kind of Brahman, means like, okay, something that is there. No, that is some arrangement is there. So that arrangement and control of the government is there in every single area of this whole city. So that's kind of Brahman understanding. And Paramatma understanding means, okay, that like a person who's there, I know who is the chief minister, and then he can actually get some job done and things like that. If there is some approvals and things like that, we can actually go and approach him, and then we can get some things done and things like that. So it's managerial kind of understanding. So Paramatma in Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned Anumanta Upadrishta, one who gives sanction for our activities, one who oversees our activities, and then Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantra Rudani Mayaya. So one who directs the wanderings of all the living entities, based on their karma, they are sent to different places. And then Matta Smritar Jnanam Apohanam Cha, one who enables the knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness, and one who's manages and delivers the karma of the living entities. So these kind of definitions all fit to the Paramatma category. Right? So it's a functional kind of a definition. It's a functional kind of a role that the Lord is performing. So administrative, functional kind of a role. So that's the Paramatma realization. And Bhagavan realization means, oh, he's a very lovable person. So I don't think any of us have such kind of an affection with any politician. So like we just even don't even know like who is that guy, and somebody let them sit and rule. No, if he's not troubling me, it's okay. No, that's the kind of this one. So it's like Bhagavan realization means to have a very, very personal, intimate relationship with that Supreme Lord. So that's the Bhagavan realization, right? So here we see that Bhagavan Uvacha, right? So, okay, Lord Krishna, in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1 to 11, this conception of absolute truth is explained thus. Okay, the same sloka that we discussed. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam ejnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabdyate. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of the absolute truth, and all of them are identical. Such phases of absolute truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Right? These three divine aspects can be explained by the example of sun, which also has three different aspects, namely the sunshine, the sun's surface, and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is preliminary student. One who understands the sun's surface is further advanced, and one who can enter into the sun planet is the highest. Ordinary students who are satisfied by simply understanding the sunshine, its universal pervasiveness, and the glaring effulgence of its impersonal nature, may be compared to those who can realize only the Brahman feature of the absolute truth. The student who advances still further can know the sun disk, which is compared to the knowledge of Paramatma feature of the absolute truth. And the student who can enter into the heart of the sun planet is compared to those who realize the personal features of the supreme absolute truth. Therefore, the bhaktas or transcendentalists who have realized the Bhagavan feature of the absolute truth are the topmost transcendentalists, although all students who are engaged in study of absolute truth are engaged in the same subject matter. So, like everyone are engaged in finding out that absolute truth, but all of them have different kinds of realizations. Okay, the sunshine, the sun disk, and the inner affairs of the sun planet cannot be separated from each other, and yet the students of different phases are not in the same category. The Sanskrit word Bhagavan is explained by great authority Parashara Muni, the father of Vyasadeva, the supreme personality of Godhead who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, all renunciation is called Bhagavan. Right? Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashashashriya, Jnana, Vairaga, Yos, Chaiva, Channambaga, Itingana. So this is the definition that Parashara Muni gives. And that means, no, everything, all the riches, all the strength, all the fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation is there. And in full, Samagrasya. So such person is called as the Bhagavan. There are many persons who are rich, very powerful, very beautiful, very famous, very learned, and very much detached, but no one can claim that he possesses all riches, all strength, etc. entirely. Only Krishna can claim this because he is the supreme personality of Godhead. No living entity, including Brahma, Lord Shiva, or Narayana, can possess opulences as fully as Krishna. Therefore, it is concluded in Brahma Samhita by Lord Brahma himself that Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. No one is equal to or above him. He is the primeval Lord or Bhagavan, known as Govinda, and he is the supreme cause of all causes. Ishwaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Sachidananda Vigraha Anadirad Govindaha Sarvakarana Karanam. There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because none can excel him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all causes. Brahma Samhita 5.1. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also there is a list of many incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Krishna is described as the original personality of Godhead from whom many, many incarnations and personalities of Godhead expand. Yate cham sakala pumshaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge Yuge. All the list of incarnations of Godhead submitted herewith are either plenary expansions or parts of plenary expansions of the Supreme Godhead, but Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. So we had discussed it sometimes that various incarnations of Krishna can be seen as different phases of the moon. So different phases of the moon, they are not that the moon is cut to pieces or it's a different kind of a moon at every day. No, it's the same moon, only a portion of it is displayed. In the same way, no, etecha amsa kala, no pumsaha, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So it is amsha or kala. Amsha means a portion, kala means portion of portion. So in this way, like the Supreme Lord, when he displays a particular portion of himself, then it becomes some other form of incarnation. But when he displays himself fully, so that is Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. No, he is the original personality of Godhead, right? Therefore, Krishna is the original supreme personality of Godhead, the absolute truth, the source of both the super soul and the impersonal Brahman. In the presence of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna's lamentation for his kinsman is certainly unbecoming, and therefore Krishna expressed his surprise with the words Kutaha, where from? No, Kutaha, where from? Such impurities were never expected from a person belonging to the civilized class of men, known as Aryans. No, Anarya Justam. No, he mentions Anarya means like you don't speak like an civilized man. No, you speak like Anarya. No, he mentions. Right. So the word Aryan is applicable to persons who know the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. Persons who are led by material conception of life do not know that the aim of life is realization of absolute truth, Vishnu. Nate viduhu swata gatim hi Vishnu. So persons who are not, persons who are in material conception, they don't know the real aim of life is Vishnu or Bhagavan. Okay. And they are captivated by the external features of material world, and therefore they do not know what liberation is. Persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. No, that's what Krishna mentions as Anarya. Although Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was deviating from the prescribed duties by declining to fight. This act of cowardice is described as befitting the non Aryans. Such deviation from the duty does not help one in the progress of spiritual life, nor does it even give one the opportunity to become famous in this world. Akirtikaram Arjuna. The Lord Krishna did not approve of the so called compassion of Arjuna for his kinsmen. Okay, so we will stop here for today. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. Very good.